Back in 2022, a driver recorded footage while traveling down a quiet rural road at night, which, according to the uploader, was captured by his father during a normal drive through the area. As the vehicle moved forward, a figure became visible standing near the side of the road. The figure appeared to be wearing a white dress. The father didn't stop to look, but as soon as he got home, he showed the footage to his family. An explorer was near a body of water when they noticed something, a faint object or light source across the water. As they zoomed in, the shape seemed to resemble a humanoid figure. Then it began moving deeper into the forest, away from the shoreline. The movement confirmed it was not a reflection or a stationary object caught in the foliage. Maybe it was a person wearing a reflective suit, but honestly, I don't know if it can easily be explained. It might just remain a mystery. Before we continue, don't ever do this yourself. A woman was hiking near a small waterfall when she decided to get close to the edge. At first, everything seemed fine, but within seconds, the woman slipped and fell over the edge of the waterfall.
Whoa.
The impact left her seriously injured, and the audio captured intense signs of pain and difficulty breathing. Despite the severity of the fall, she survived, though her condition was described as critical at the time. This is a powerful reminder: if you're ever hiking near a cliff, waterfall, or steep edge, keep a safe distance, because one wrong step can change everything. This footage was reportedly recorded in the early 2000s and later recovered by a park ranger. When the park ranger checked the footage, he was shocked. The recording begins with a man running through the trees while multiple dark humanoid figures appear to follow him from different directions. At one point, the hiker appears to be attacked by one of the figures, and the footage abruptly ends. Then, the footage cuts to this. The people who were chasing him seem to have taken his camera, set it up, and are performing some sort of ritual around him. Some believe it could be staged footage. Others believe he had been abducted and was being used as part of a ritual sacrifice. No official verification of the footage has ever been provided, and honestly, I hope it was just staged footage. This footage was reportedly included among declassified military videos released by the Pentagon. In the clip, two glowing objects can be seen moving through the sky while partially obscured by trees. The lights appear to travel together for a period of time before disappearing from view. Because the footage came from material officially released to the public, it immediately sparked debate about what was actually being observed. What's important to note, unidentified doesn't necessarily mean extraterrestrial. It simply means the objects couldn't be positively identified based on the available information. So what do you think those lights were? A hiker in Parana was recording a nighttime walk through a dense forest when something unusual appeared in front of him. The area was completely dark, with only his flashlight cutting through the trees. While documenting, a sudden movement appeared between the branches ahead. A dark figure crossed the path at close range before disappearing into the forest. The hiker reacted immediately in shock, and the audio captured a low, heavy sound. The moment happened so fast that it was unclear what exactly had moved through the trail. Was it just a wild animal, or something else? TikTok user The Apex Inconvenience was in the woods late at night working out when the crickets suddenly went silent, leaving an unnatural quiet in the area. Moments later, he heard rustling coming from nearby bushes. He clapped loudly, likely trying to scare whatever was there. Immediately after, a low growl can be heard from the darkness. The recording ends right after that moment, without showing what caused the sound. The uploader later suggested it could have been the so-called Dogman from local legends, but viewers believe it was more likely a bear or another large wild animal reacting to his presence, which honestly isn't much better. Reddit user Zombie Paranormal shared a recording captured deep in a forest at night. The audio sounded like distant animal calls at first, but then the sounds became sharper, almost resembling human-like screaming.
Oh my god. Nope. Nope.
The user was frightened and managed to get out safely. It could be wildlife such as mountain lions or bobcats, which are known to produce vocalizations that can sound unusually human. But it could also be human, which is worse. TikTok user Unsettling Content explored an abandoned building with some friends at night. As they looked through one of the gaps, they noticed a white figure standing still inside the structure.
Suaranya tuh. Suaranya. Mana tapi? Oh, ini. Mana? Itu tuh. Ini. Kelihatan. Oh iya ini pocongan nih. Astagfirullahaladzim. Dia noleh tuh. Dia noleh. Oh, dekatnya anjir.
The figure did not move or react as they observed it from a distance. The uploader captioned the clip as a possible Pokong sighting, referring to a figure from local folklore. They first thought it might have been a mannequin since it didn't move, but when they returned to check the spot minutes later, it was gone. Might be a Pokong, after all. An Arizona woman was hiking with her son on the Woods Lake Trail in southwestern Colorado when a routine day outdoors suddenly took a dangerous turn. The pair had been exploring the trail within the Uncompahgre National Forest and rugged Lizard Head Wilderness. At some point during the hike, the mother and son became separated. As the hours passed, she was unable to find her way back. The situation quickly became more serious as darkness began approaching. The 48-year-old woman was reportedly not equipped to spend a night in the wilderness. With time running out, search crews from nearby counties launched an operation to locate her before conditions became even more dangerous. The surrounding terrain is remote, filled with steep wilderness and high elevations where temperatures can drop rapidly after sunset. Fortunately, the search didn't last long. Just after 10:30 p.m., rescuers located the woman at an elevation of approximately 11,200 feet. She was cold, disorientated, and lost. But remarkably, she had not suffered any injuries. Soon afterward, search teams guided her safely back down the trail, where she was reunited with her son. Thankfully, the incident ended with a successful rescue. Reddit user Bikepacker was camping alone in a remote forest in South Korea. During the night, he began hearing loud howls and strange animal sounds coming from the surrounding woods. The noises kept returning every time he tried to sleep, making it difficult for him to rest. At first he believed it could be a wild boar, which is one of the few larger animals found in the region. He stayed inside his tent, trying to avoid drawing attention while the sounds moved closer and then faded away repeatedly. The experience continued until sunrise, when the forest finally went quiet again. Later, he discovered that the source of the sounds was likely a water deer, a small and harmless animal native to the area. Despite its harmless nature, its call is known to sound unusually loud and unsettling at night. Some people spotted a strange white figure in the trees inside Parque Tangua in Curitiba, Brazil, and captured this viral video. It appeared deep in a restricted wooded area near a trail and lookout point that was reportedly under maintenance. The video quickly spread online, with viewers saying it looked like the ghost of a bride. But in a social media post, a user said they actually came across the woman in the park. It's a woman dressed entirely in white, wearing headphones and a phone, loudly singing in the middle of the park. How she got there is unknown and she never came forward. She might not be a ghost, but she's still a mystery. In 2020, during a solo hiking trip deep in the wilderness, this person noticed something unusual in the distance and decided to take a photo. A large figure appears to be standing near the edge of a meadow, partially surrounded by tall grass. The shape looks upright, and its apparent height and broad build immediately caught the attention of people who later saw the image. Some viewers compared it to descriptions of Sasquatch or other large unidentified creatures reportedly seen in remote wilderness areas. Of course, there are more ordinary explanations. The photo was blurry, taken from a considerable distance, and lacks enough detail to clearly identify what is actually there. It could simply be a bear standing upright, another animal partially obscured by vegetation, or even a person whose appearance is distorted by distance and lighting. But that's also what keeps the debate going. The figure is just clear enough to suggest something is there, yet not clear enough to reveal exactly what it is. Without additional photos, video, or verified information about the image, the true identity of the figure remains unknown. A content creator exploring the isolated Rio Yaguaraguava in Sao Paulo recorded unusual stone formations while navigating a narrow stretch of water. As he moved deeper into the river, he began noticing rock walls with sharp angles and flat surfaces that looked unusually structured.
E ali também tem risco nela.
Some believe the shapes could point to ancient human activity long before recorded history in the region. Others argue the patterns are the result of natural erosion and water flow shaping the rock over time. It doesn't seem natural though. A hiker exploring a canyon in Utah discovered something unusual built directly into the side of a mountain. While moving through the remote area, he came across two heavy metal doors embedded in the rock face. The location appeared completely isolated. Both doors appeared reinforced and were securely locked, but one detail caught his attention even more. Mounted above one of the entrances was a surveillance camera pointed directly toward the approach path, which suggested the site was still being monitored. Unfortunately, no clear explanation was available for what the structure contained. A man came across what looked like a dead hognose snake lying on the grounds in the woods. As he reached down to touch it, the snake suddenly flipped over and went completely still, playing dead.
Watch one more time.
This species is known for this defense behavior, where it rolls over, opens its mouth, and even lets its tongue hang out to appear lifeless. If it is turned back over, it often flips itself again to maintain the illusion of being dead. The hognose snake is generally harmless to humans and is not considered medically dangerous. However, similar playing dead behavior can also appear in other snake species that may still be venomous. So be careful with those snakes, even if they seem dead. A man exploring an abandoned shed at night began hearing strange grunting and huffing sounds coming from nearby. He followed the noises into the surrounding area and found this. Two figures with long dark hair covering their faces. The figures appeared to be eating something on the ground aggressively. Whatever they were eating was hard to see, but it appeared red, like blood. They moved on all fours, but their body shape still suggested they were human. The man kept his distance and did not approach any closer, and what happened next is unknown. Many commenters suggested it might be wild humans, said to survive deep in forests away from society. But it raises one question. With such a strong light beam on them from the camera, how did they not seem to notice him or care about him? A 68-year-old British hiker named Isabel set out on a solo trek through the mountainous Veneto region of northern Italy. She was following the Rhaetian Way, a challenging multi-day hiking route stretching through remote valleys, mountain trails, and rugged terrain. According to reports, Isabel had started the day from the area of Stalle and was expected to complete the next section of her journey before arriving at a hotel in Alano da Pieve later that evening. But she never arrived. As the hours passed, concern began to grow. By the early hours of the next morning, emergency services had been alerted. Search teams immediately began retracing the route she was believed to have taken through the mountains. At first, rescuers focused on the planned trail, but when no sign of Isabel was found, the search area was expanded. Alpine rescue teams, firefighters, drones, and search dogs were all deployed as dozens of personnel combed the surrounding wilderness. Authorities fear that Isabel may have taken a wrong turn somewhere along the route. Despite extensive search efforts, no confirmed trace of her has been found. As of the latest reports, the search remains ongoing and the case is still open. If you're in the Veneto region and have any information that could help locate Isabel, authorities are asking you to contact local law enforcement. Hopefully, someone comes forward with information that helps bring answers to her family and loved ones. A person reported finding something unusual deep in the woods of Louisiana while exploring a remote area alone. According to him, he came across a deer's rib cage that had been arranged into a shape resembling a human figure. The remains were also bound together with vines. He believed the arrangement could be linked to ritualistic practices. Does anyone know more about things like this? A homeowner discovered a strange structure in their backyard while exploring a wooded corner of the property. He had never seen it before. As he moved closer, he noticed benches and torch-like fixtures placed in a deliberate arrangement. Then, he found a sign.
Oh no.
It was hard to read, so he went back to grab something to clean it. This is what it read.
Chapel is open to any person or any honorable worship for any honorable worship purpose. The Holy Cross is made from a tree grown in the Holy Land.
Then he entered the chapel. The space appeared heavily weathered, suggesting it had been unused for a long time. What made it more unusual was how hidden it was, despite being so close to his home. The owner had no record of who built it or when it was placed there. It's like nobody knew it existed. But stumbling on something like this in your own yard, it's gotta be a really clear sign from above, right? A family went to spend a week in a remote home in the woods when the mother took this photo of her son. She took a few photographs during the visit, noticing nothing unusual at the time. Months later, while reviewing her camera roll, she saw something she had completely missed. In one of the images, there appears to be a faint figure wrapped around her son as he smiles at the camera. When zoomed in, the shape resembles a child, but the expression looks tense and unsettling. The mother insists nothing was there when the photo was taken, and she would have noticed it at the time. Some believe it could be a reflection or motion blur. Others suggest it might be linked to something tied to the history of the house. What remains is an unexplained, unsettling image the family won't easily forget. A 68-year-old woman was driving through a remote trail area near Park Rapids, Minnesota, when what should have been a routine trip suddenly turned into a fight for survival. At some point, her van became stuck deep along the trail. Unable to free the vehicle, she got out to assess the situation. That's when things became even worse. According to reports, she stepped into thick mud that she later described as being almost like quicksand. The ground gave way beneath her, and before long, she found herself trapped, alone in a remote area she was unable to get out. Hours passed, then days. For nearly 3 days, the woman remained stuck beside her van, exposed to the elements. Meanwhile, search efforts were underway after she was reported missing. Then, by pure chance, 2 men riding ATVs along the trails noticed something unusual near an abandoned-looking vehicle. At first, they thought they were looking at something unresponsive laying in a muddy puddle. But as they got closer, they heard a voice. "Help me." In that moment, they realized the woman was still alive. She was lying on her back, badly sunburned, exhausted, and unable to move. The men immediately called for help. Emergency crews rushed to the scene and worked to free her from the difficult terrain. Thankfully, she was successfully rescued and received medical attention. A simple vehicle problem in an isolated area nearly became a fatal situation. And if those 2 ATV riders hadn't chosen that particular trail that day, the outcome could have been very different. On April 11, 2026, a person was hiking in Alberta, Canada, when they noticed something unusual in the distance. While taking a break, they spotted a large upright figure moving through a remote valley. The figure appeared to walk with a smooth, steady stride across the landscape before gradually disappearing from view. Interestingly, the region has long been associated with reports of strange encounters. Dating back to the 1800s, Trappers, prospectors, and loggers working near the Rocky Mountains occasionally described hearing unexplained sounds in the wilderness and discovering unusually large tracks in remote areas. Some people believe those historical accounts add credibility to modern sightings reported in the same region. Whatever was crossing the valley that day, its apparent size, upright movement, and the remote location left the hiker with more questions than answers. A person shared a photo on Facebook taken late at night inside a graveyard deep in the woods of South Carolina, claiming something unusual appeared in the background. At first, the image looked just like a normal nighttime photo of the cemetery, but after looking closer, a faint figure could be seen standing near the headstones, partially blending into the darkness. The shape appeared blurry and distorted, almost as if it had been captured mid-movement. Honestly, low-light photography can create strange effects like motion blur, fog distortion, or odd lighting artifacts, especially in dark environments like this. In 2023, a woman went into a wooded area searching for her nephew who had gone missing after being discharged from a hospital. He had left to return home, but no one saw him again afterward. As she moved deeper into the forest, she began to feel uneasy, like she was being watched. She stopped and slowly recorded a video, scanning the trees around her. At the time, she thought it was just nerves and considered turning back. But later, when she reviewed the footage at home, she noticed something she hadn't seen at the moment. Between the trees, a humanoid shape appeared for just a second. She still hasn't found her nephew, and the discovery only added to her fear and confusion about what she experienced in those woods. Was it just a trick of light and branches moving together, or did something actually stand there between the trees? So far, no update has been provided. On October 22, 2024, police responded to a report on the Portage County Hike and Bike Trail in Ravenna, Ohio, after a passerby found a man who had been stabbed.
Put it down!
Officers were treating the victim when a second man walked out of the nearby woods. He was carrying both an axe and a knife. Despite repeated commands to stop and drop the weapons, he continued walking directly toward the officers. When he got too close, officers opened fire. The man was later identified as 43-year-old Matthew James Fry and was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim survived and told investigators the attack had been unprovoked. Authorities later confirmed Fry had prior contact with law enforcement and a history of violent offenses, but there was no active warning at the time. The trail was briefly closed and later reopened. Incidents like this prove that sometimes the most dangerous encounters outdoors aren't wildlife, but other people. A group of hikers ventured into a forested area at night with flashlights and cameras. As they moved deeper along the trail, they noticed something bright beneath a tree in the distance. Something was standing there, wearing what looked like a white wedding dress. It didn't move at all, until it did. The group froze as the figure slowly turned towards them, staring from a distance. After a few seconds, it turned away and began walking off into the trees. The hikers stayed where they were, unsure what they had just seen. A search team has joined the long-running investigation into one of Australia's most baffling missing person cases: the disappearance of 4 people from Nannup, Western Australia in 2007. Chantel McDougall, her 5-year-old daughter Leela, Simon Cadwell, and Tony Popick all vanished after telling family members they were planning to move to Brazil. But according to investigators, they never boarded any known flights. And after they disappeared, none of them ever accessed their bank accounts again. As police dug deeper into the case, more unusual details emerged. Simon Cadwell was discovered to be living under a false identity. His real name was Gary Felton. Investigators also learned that he had been operating an online spiritual group that some later described as cult-like. Perhaps most disturbing of all, police revealed that Cadwell had allegedly discussed a plan involving members of the group entering the wilderness and dying together as part of a suicide pact. Months after the four vanished, items linked to the group were reportedly discovered in bushland near the town of Northcliffe. There were also indications that people had spent time in the area. Police searched the region at the time, but years later, authorities admitted they had focused on the wrong location. That revelation left family members devastated. Now, a new search effort is being planned with the assistance of experienced volunteers who previously helped locate missing persons in other high-profile wilderness cases. Nearly 2 decades later, no confirmed trace of Chantel, Leela, Simon, or Tony has ever been found, and the mystery of what happened to the Nannup 4 remains unsolved. If you have any information about the disappearance of the Nannup 4, investigators and the family continue to encourage people to come forward. Hopefully, this new search will finally bring answers to a case that has remained a mystery for almost 20 years. A person hiking near a swamp when they encountered something creepy nearby. Standing in the shallow water and dense trees was what appeared to be a humanoid creature. They quickly took this blurry video and ran off. Swamps are extremely hard to fully explore, with thick vegetation, low visibility, and isolated areas where very little human activity happens. Because of that, some argue that if something unusual did exist, it could go unnoticed for a long time. Others say these stories are just legends, and this video was likely fake. This footage was uploaded to YouTube on April 13th, 2026. The man had been exploring a secluded blueberry patch deep in the woods when he noticed something unusual watching him from the tree line. The figure appeared to be trying to stay hidden, partially blending into the surrounding forest. In the footage, the shape is difficult to make out clearly due to the distance and dense vegetation. Later, the creator shared several zoomed-in still images with filters applied in an attempt to reveal more detail. According to him, a closer look revealed what he believed were multiple faces and figures hidden within the same section of woods, suggesting there may have been more than one presence watching from the tree line. Of course, once filters and heavy zoom are applied, it's easy for the human brain to start seeing faces and patterns that aren't actually there. So what do you think? Was it simply shadows, branches, and natural shapes creating an illusion? Or did he really capture multiple figures hiding in that blueberry patch that day? In British Columbia, a group of amateur researchers placed trail cameras deep in a remote forest, hoping to capture rare wildlife in the area. The setup worked as intended, recording natural movement in the woods. But one of the clips showed something else. As it passed the camera's field of view, the creature seemed to pause and look directly toward it before disappearing again. It's easy to dismiss it as fake, but what if it's actually real and no one believes it? Reddit user That Ginger Hippie was hiking around a swamp when they came across various photos and film scattered on the ground. They found multiple items spread out in the area, including printed photographs, personal-looking belongings, and older items like clothing and CDs. Some think it was the result of a burglary, where stolen items were dumped after valuables were taken. Others believe it could be someone discarding memories after an emotional event. Who did these memories belong to? And why were they scattered there? YouTuber UV Parjapti Vlogs was hiking along a forest trail when he came across a small lake nearby. That's when he started hearing a strange noise coming from the water. He quickly grabbed his camera, and as he looked toward the water, he spotted something unusual. A child, moving strangely in the water while making continuous animal-like sounds.
Oh my god. What is this?
The behavior didn't seem normal, and there was no clear explanation for what he was seeing. Whether it was real or staged is unknown, but it was definitely unsettling. A man traveling through a remote area of Louisiana came across something that immediately caught his attention. Sitting completely alone in the middle of the landscape was what appeared to be a portable toilet. At first glance, it didn't seem like much, but there were no nearby buildings, no visible roads leading to it, no construction equipment, and no obvious signs that anyone had been working in the area. Curious but cautious, the man stopped to record it. For a moment, he considered walking over to investigate, but ultimately, he decided against it. And honestly, I can't really blame him, because finding a random portable toilet in the middle of nowhere is strange enough. Now, I would love to watch some more scary wilderness encounters.